Hey, what's up? You there?
Hey,
What's up?
can you hear me?
I can hear you. So, yeah, my guest here is Mr. G2ek. Fair to call you producer for Dylan Verne's show? Is that a fair?
Yeah, just a quick. I'm not his producer. I'm just video editing, and I help him with basically when there's a HPDP.
Okay, so basically we have two things to talk about. Your claim that only people that deny science and break the orders get COVID, so therefore they've kind of brought it on themselves, and your hypocrisy that it's okay for you and your lefties to break the social distance orders because you're good people or something, so it's okay for you, but then you'll go on and say other people that violate the orders deserve to be in jail. So it's up to you. Which one would you like to start with? I don't care.
We can start with the first one, basically, like you thinking that I say that I wish you get COVID. I think it's a
I
good one
didn't
to
say
start
that.
with.
I said you implied that I deserve to get COVID.
Um,
Instead of
we-
messing around, we'll just go to the quote.
yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
sure. Now, first off, even someone who was on here that was disagreeing with me, that's actually a fan of Dylan's, told you that that's why you were wrong, that it was wrong to imply that I deserve COVID because I didn't follow the orders, when I told you explicitly that I actually followed the social distance orders more than people like Dylan. Yet, you didn't respond to them either when that was pointed out to you. Correct?
Yeah, I didn't because basically, like Dylan asked me to not to, not to. Like if you want, I can show the DM. I don't have a problem with that. But he literally say, "Yes, stop spamming my wall."
Okay, but that's irrelevant to the fact that you could have said, oh, geez, that's not what I was doing. Here's what you said. But hey, Dylan went to a protest wearing a mask, tried his best to respect social distancing, and didn't get COVID. You, on the other hand, what do you mean you on the other hand? Now, you know I have COVID, correct?
You on the other hand got COVID.
Right. So in other words, Dylan did the right thing. Me, on the other hand, right? That's what you're saying there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so can you explain to me what I did that predictably led to me getting COVID?
I've had so we talked not a lot, but I think a few times, basically
Yep.
on Prime Kai and everything. And yeah, every time the last conversation we had was on Prime Kai, where you were literally like debating the efficiency of masks.
No, what I said was I understand people that are skeptical of masks, seeing as how the medical leaders in this country lied to us about masks originally, and then proceeded to be hypocritical and said, you should avoid all social gatherings unless it's for Black Lives Matter, and then it's somehow acceptable. I said so I could understand why people don't wear masks. Now, I have hundreds of hours in the past 3 months up on my channel, and I challenge you to show me one time where I've said I didn't wear a mask. I wear a mask everywhere I go. My mother-in-law works in hospice, so I was concerned about possibly getting COVID and spreading it to people that are elderly and have comorbidities. I worked in the home healthcare field, so not only was I required to wear the mask through work, but I, just to be a decent person, didn't want to spread COVID to people that had tons of other illnesses. So I don't know if the masks work or not, but I do know this, I've wore one. I also know that I haven't attended any large gathering since at least March. So unlike Dylan, and unlike the people in Black Lives Matter, I listened to the social distancing guidelines, and I listened to the experts once they changed their minds and said that it was important to wear masks. But some piece of shit like you implies that I deserve COVID based on nothing.
So again, never say you deserve COVID. But
No, you just
that's
said
another point.
what you just said, that unlike Dylan, who did things right, I got COVID, which means I must have did something wrong. Then your next comment is, and yet people who wear masks and respect, try their best to respect social distancing, trust science, and don't cry about it, don't get sick. In other words, everyone who got sick must have not wore a mask, not respected the science, and not respected social distancing. You piece of shit. So go ahead and tell all the people that have had loved ones that died of COVID, well, hey, that's their fault. They didn't respect the social distancing. Go ahead, let's hear it.
Are you okay? You seem big mad.
Oh, no. You see, I'm having a great time. I enjoy pointing out faux, left-wing, moral superior people like you that are actually piece of shit hypocrites. I enjoy this. This is what I actually do. Do you need to get Dylan's permission before you respond? Is that what you need? I'll wait. Go ahead. Get his permission.
Yeah, okay. Let's address the argument. Do you understand the difference between blaming and deserving? Like saying, I blame you for this and you deserve this. Do you understand the difference between,
fair enough.
between
I
those
see.
two claims?
So you're not saying everyone who got COVID deserved it. You're blaming everyone who got COVID for getting COVID. Got it.
No, I blame the people who debated the efficiency of
No. That's not what you said. You said people who wear masks.
Scroll down. This is literally written on Twitter. Do you want me to read what I said? No, I blame every person who got sick and who debated the efficiency of masks.
You said, and I quote, people who wear masks and respect try their best to respect social distancing, trust science, and don't cry about it, don't get sick. Once it was pointed out how big of a piece of shit statement that was, you tried to backtrack because you're a coward who aren't going to defend your words. You probably had to get Dylan's permission to make sure that you were allowed to say whatever you wanted to say. That's what you said. Explain to me then someone who got sick. So surely then you're saying that people that got sick didn't wear masks, didn't respect social distancing, didn't trust science, and they did cry about it. That's what your words were. Once it was called out what a piece of shit you were like, oh no, I'm just blaming people that question masks. Well, you don't have any proof of me questioning masks, asshole. And you said, unlike Dylan, I got sick. So what do you mean, dickhead?
Sorry. So yeah, if you want to take this as backpedaling, sure. Like, I don't give a shit about like what you think and how you interpret shit.
Well,
I literally said in the message after, no, I blame every person who got sick and who debated the efficiency of masks.
Mm-hmm. Right. So why is it okay for you to violate social distance orders?
Never say it was.
You said it was okay for Dylan.
Okay, if you want to compare the two cases, because let's compare basically what we're talking about. We're talking about someone who owns a gym, which is an indoor shit, who is known to be one of the places where the virus is like, basically it's considered as a super spreader place.
Cool. Show me any piece of evidence that gym caused one case of COVID.
I can show you evidence that gym caused case of COVID, or you can use your fucking brain. If you
right, I could use my fucking brain. If hundreds of thousands of people are gathering shoulder to shoulder screaming, they're spreading COVID as well. I can use my fucking brain. It's you that can't. You piece of shit. Here's the difference. You could talk about the difference. You're like every great leftist hypocrite.
Do you understand the difference between indoor and outdoor when it comes to spreading COVID?
I do. Let me ask you this. I didn't attend an indoor event or an outdoor event and violate social distancing. Dylan did. So who's more responsible for spreading COVID, me or Dylan? You're fucking straw man that, no. It's okay for us to pick and choose which social distance orders to stand by because we feel some of them are more important than others is fucking bullshit. People like you spread COVID. And then you have the nerve to get on and blame other people and say, but they spread it worse. Fuck you. You don't get to choose. You don't get to choose which scientific orders you want to follow and then criticize other people who do the same thing as you. Say, I've chosen which orders I want to follow. Now, unlike you, I didn't blame Dylan for spreading COVID. In fact, I talked often. I think Black Lives Matter is a domestic terrorist organization. I think they're horrible. My town had a Black Lives Matter rally. It was totally peaceful. I went to social media and applauded them and said, I disagree with your movement. You guys were peaceful. I don't care that it was against pandemic restrictions. You have the right to express yourself. No problem here. But pieces of shit like you say, yes, that Black Lives Matter. They're allowed to violate the social distance orders, but not people that want to keep their business open. You don't get to claim.
Okay.
No. What I'm comparing is you could make an argument and say, I think some social distance orders are worthwhile. I think others aren't. But what you don't get to do is say, oh, I'm somehow morally superior and think people that violate social distance orders should go straight to fucking jail, which is what you said in your tweet, right? But then simultaneously advocate for, oh, but I think it's okay when people that politically agree with me violate social distance orders. You're a fucking hypocrite. And then you have the nerve to blame people that get sick and say, well, it must be their fault that they got sick. You're just the lowest of the low. You're a sack of shit. That's what you are. But you're a great model for the left wing. That's exactly who you people really are.
Let it out.
No, I'm letting it out just fine. Letting it out just fine. Now go on. How many people? Go ahead. There's someone in my hometown, and actually an elderly person. I think that his son will be watching right now, who just passed away of COVID last week. So I'd like to tell his son why you think it's okay for your side to violate social distance orders and spread the pandemic. Could you speak to him directly why that's okay?
Do you understand the difference between indoor and outdoor when it comes to spreading COVID?
Can you understand why gym? Let me ask you this. Can COVID spread outdoors?
Yes.
Okay, so then you took a chance. You're advocating. You're telling people.
You're literally comparing jaywalking to robbing a bank. Again.
No, I'm not. This is the difference. This is you claiming, well, one person, I raped someone and someone else raped someone, but I wore a condom. That's what you're doing. As long as I wear the mask, it's okay for me to help spread COVID and violate social distance. My chance of spreading COVID was only 10%, but the gym owners was 20%. Therefore, I'm a moral person and they should be in jail. You are advocating people to violate social distance orders, which you know will have a chance to spread COVID. You just say it's less of a chance than that gym. Fuck you. Explain to the people that died of COVID why it was worth it for you to go ahead and say, well, my protest is important, so we're going to go ahead and take the risk of spreading COVID. Go ahead, explain to the people that died of COVID why that's acceptable.
Are you done?
Until I feel like it again, sure, go. Explain to them.
All right, can you look up the difference in terms of spreading when it comes to indoor versus outdoor?
You fucking hypocrite. What does that have anything to do with you advocating? What does that have to do with you advocating for people to violate social distance orders?
You want to turn this into my side versus your side. I don't give a shit. It's not about politics at all. It's not about like BLM. I don't give a shit if it was BLM or if it was like a I don't know, Trump rally or anything. Mm-hmm. It's about like basically like what spread COVID the more.
That's not what it's about. What it's about, this is who's making it political. One person saying either we should listen to the scientists and the social distance orders or we fucking shouldn't. That's my argument. Your argument is, no. We should pick and choose which social distance orders to listen to based on politics. You're the fucking person making it political. You're the person who says certain people are allowed to violate the orders, but others should be in jail for it. Oh, but I think that the ones I think should be in jail violated the orders more. Fuck you. If violating the orders means you should be in jail, then you should be advocating that your friend Dylan should be in jail. Instead, because you're making it political, you say, no, it was okay. It was okay for him to violate the orders. You're a fucking hypocrite. And now you're trying to accuse me of exactly what you're doing. You're the one who's making it political. Please explain to us why it's okay for you to advocate for people to possibly spread COVID by violating social distance orders. Try to do it without, but other people do it worse. We're not talking about a gym owner. We're talking about you and Dylan and the people on the left that said it was okay for you to violate social distance orders. Try to argue that without talking about that gym.
All right, no worries. During the BLM protest, you saw lots of people wearing masks. You saw like a big majority of people wearing masks. You saw people distributing masks. You saw people distributing hand sanitizer. And yeah, they were outside, which is like less likely, like, I don't know how much, I think it's like 3 or 5 times less likely to spread COVID than indoor.
Did Dr. Fauci say we should avoid large outdoor gatherings?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think we should trust Dr. Fauci?
Yes.
Okay, so why are you advocating? But it was okay to go against Dr. Fauci's orders as long as we had hand sanitizers and masks. Dr. Fauci didn't say, hey, go ahead and go protest in large gatherings outside as long as you have masks and sanitizers. He didn't say that, did he?
No.
Okay, so then can you explain, if you think we should follow Dr. Fauci's order, can you explain why you're arguing right now that it was good for people to violate them?
He said that if you have to go outside, you can, if you have to go outside, you can also take all this precaution to respect all of this.
Okay. Did he say to avoid those gatherings?
Yes.
Okay. But you're advocating that people go to them.
I never, what?
You're advocating, or let's say this, you're defending people going to them, like Dylan.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a fucking hypocrite.
The same way this guy the gym guy, feel like he has to stay open and everything. People think they have to go to protest.
There you go, you fucking hypocrite. Exactly. So on one hand, you say the gym guy should be in jail, but people like Dylan who violated the order should be celebrated.
The guy who keeps it doesn't change anything to the fact that the guy who keeps his gym open is like 10 times more likely by everything he said and everything.
It doesn't matter, you fucking hypocrite.
Yes, it fucking
does.
No,
it doesn't. You saying, it's okay to violate social distance. No, you fucking asshole. You were making moral judgments on people for violating social distance orders because they are endangering people with the pandemic. In the same fucking breath, you are defending people violating social distance orders that have the chance of increasing disease in a pandemic. You saying, yeah, but the other side did it worse is fucking irrelevant to you being a piece of shit. Who gives a fuck what that gym owner said? You're a piece of shit. You don't get to say, yeah, but I could be a piece of shit because that gym owner's a bigger piece of shit. You're still a piece of shit. And then you have the fucking balls to blame other people for getting COVID. You fucking loser.
Your argument is that a crime is a crime. No matter if it's jaywalk or robbing a bank.
No, that's not my argument. My argument is, if we're supposed to follow social distance orders, because the implication is, if we don't, we could kill people with COVID, we're not talking about jaywalking. We're talking about people dying. So, okay, let's say, hypothetically, although you could provide no evidence to it, let's say hypothetically that gym caused 10 people to get COVID and 2 of them died. Horrible, okay? Now, let's say your rally that Dylan went to, it only caused 5 people to get COVID and 1 died. So is that person that they fucking killed? Doesn't matter then, right? Well, that's just jaywalking. It was okay for us to violate the social distance orders. You fucking loser.
What you're comparing is like if 5 people get sick and 1 people die to if 100 people get sick and 20 people die. This is the scale we're talking about. This is the difference between jaywalking and fucking robbing.
No, it's not. It's not. Jaywalking doesn't cause people to die, you fucking idiot. You're literally saying, I think if we don't listen to Dr. Fauci, the pandemic will spread. But I'm arguing that we shouldn't listen to Dr. Fauci when it benefits my side politically. I just think that that's going to spread it less than a gym. A moral person would say, hey, you know what? I think we should listen to the science and social distance. And I'm not going to make excuses and say, but it's okay for my side to do it. That's what a moral person would say. And a moral partisan hack would say, no, it's okay for my side to violate social distance orders. And I'll come up with a bunch of excuses why. That's what a hack would say. Like you. And then you go on to blame people for getting COVID for not listening to the same social distance orders that you yourself have recommended violating. You fucking idiot.
Yeah, okay. Do you understand the difference between ignoring one and ignoring everything? Do you understand that one is like more likely to kill than the other?
It is irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
No, yeah,
it is irrelevant to the question of you being immoral.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's literally like jaywalking or robbing a bank.
No, it's not. Jaywalking doesn't potentially kill people.
I would argue otherwise, but...
Okay.
That's not...
Okay, sure, fine.
Don't you think that you can die if you jaywalk and a car doesn't...
Sure, yeah, you're right. So, yeah, hey, you heard it here, everyone. Violating Dr. Fauci's social distancing orders, as long as you're a left-winger, it's just like jaywalking. But it's like murder if you're a right-winger. Got it. You're the exact same. You were such a fucking piece of shit. You were such a fucking piece of shit. Every hypocrite, asshole, criminal like you in history says the same thing. Well, it was okay for me. It was okay for me to violate the orders. It was okay because I meant well. And I took precautions as I was I know more than Dr. Fauci. I know more than the scientists. I know that my violating of the social distance orders didn't really jeopardize people. Fuck you. You know more than Dr. Fauci? That's your argument?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. Can you repeat?
Oh, right. You're asking Dylan for permission again. Got it. I said, you know more than Dr. Fauci? That's your argument? It's Dylan. Is he got back to you?
That's exactly what I say. You got me.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. So if it's no big deal, if it's just jaywalking to go ahead by the hundreds of thousands and go out and march for Black Lives Matter, why did Dr. Fauci say not to do it? Why didn't he say, fuck, it's not that big of a deal? Go ahead. If it's just jaywalking, right?
So, according to your logic, it's exactly the same thing if you don't respect one of the advice he gave than if you don't listen like anything. So it's the same thing. Like if you don't wear a mask, if you don't respect social distancing, if you go to large gathering, rather than if you just go to large gathering.
Both are intentionally violating social distance orders.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that.
Right. You're a hypocrite.
Anything else you want? Yeah, okay.
Now, the idea. So I heard a little of your stream before you went on here. It's amazing how ill-informed your audience is as much as you are. So, for example, one of the things that your audience was saying is, and let's see if you agree with this, actually the red states have higher per capita deaths, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, you're so confident. Well, okay, if that's the case, fair enough. But you're so confident that you understand the science behind this, and what that gym owner did was worse than what you're suggesting, right? You're confident you have a handle on the science, right?
By the way, real quick, it's per capita infection, not death. Real quick.
Per capita infection. The red states have more.
Yeah.
Why does that matter? So, in other words, the red states would have more people infected. The red states have more people infected, but they have far less deaths. That's your argument?
No. My point is that there's a difference between how the two are treated. You understand that on one side, basically, Republican who I think like will vote and who follow Trump, who legit say that basically who refuse to wear masks, ask people to not wear masks, like basically like literally got COVID and everything, like will follow this type of advice. On the other side, you got like you got the Dems who are trying to respect basically at least wearing a fucking mask. And who not going for like more freedom type of argument for this.
The argument is that just because they've pick and chose which types of following the orders they are comfortable with, that it's okay for them to violate other orders is fucking nonsense. Now, I don't care. I believe in personal freedom. So I'm doing what I want to keep people safe from COVID. I chose to basically listen to all the orders. But you can go through and watch my show. Never once, as I said, did I blame Black Lives Matter for spreading COVID. I didn't blame any of the groups. I said, if I'm afraid of getting COVID into place, I won't go out. The arrogance of people on the left to say, well, and this is what my beef with you is. I wouldn't have said a fucking word if you weren't out there claiming to be morally superior to people that you politically disagree with, and claiming that people that made the same choice as you to violate social distance orders ought to be in jail. But not your friends that did it. So the idea that, well, at least the Democrats are doing this. Fuck you and fuck the Democrats. The Democrats are out there violating social distance orders en masse. But at least they're wearing masks. It's fucking irrelevant. They're violating the orders, so they don't get to say, I'm allowed to violate the orders I feel like, but the other people are immoral for violating orders that I think they should follow. It's bullshit.
First of all, I don't know why you try absolutely to turn this into Democrat versus Republican.
You just said, this is how stupid you fucking are. You just said Trump supporters and Republicans are out there. No, at least the Democrats are wearing masks. Then when I talk about how ridiculous that is, you say, why are you turning this into Republican versus Democrat? Are you that fucking stupid?
My point was you're trying to turn that into my side versus your side. You think that because Dylan is my friend, I'm saying this. It's not the case, and this is legit what I've said when you commented on your post. This is not about like Dylan being my friend or anything. This is because this dumb fuck who owns the gym, like legit, he's not like applying any rule for like asking people in his gym to wear masks. he refused to, like, he said himself that he doesn't believe the science. He had over like 60 citation. He had like $1 million in fine, and he's still fucking open, despite the fact that the gym is like a super spreader place.
Prove it. Prove that his gym spread 1 case of COVID.
I can prove that gym spread case of COVID.
Prove that his gym spread 1 case of COVID.
I don't give a shit about his
Right,
gym.
we know you don't. Now, by the way, let's say, for example, in New York, they just banned indoor dining and shit like that. How many cases came as a result of indoor dining in restaurants and places like gyms? What percentage?
Check the fucking link I sent you. You get your answer.
Where did you send the link? On Discord?
No, DM.
DM. On Twitter? Is that what you mean?
No, on Discord.
Oh, on Discord. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I've read this study. What this study shows is a lot of people that got COVID ended up attending places that were indoor. No shit. I don't know if you knew this. Most people, before the lockdowns, went to places that were indoors. So if I took a population of anyone with any illness...
That's not what the study said.
Yeah, using cell phone data, 1 in 3 Americans, researchers identified indoor public places most responsible for the spread of COVID-19 in the spring.
Place responsible for the spread of COVID. It doesn't mean that people went there with.
So
COVID
let me send you to let me send you 2 articles. One is this is the actual evidence from December 2020 that New York used to shut down bars and restaurants. Here's it. You notice how many people it said contracted COVID indoors at restaurants and bars and things like that? 1.4%. That's how many. 1.4%. Now, you might say, but still, that's less than Black Lives Matter rallies. Now, do you know how they determine whether or not someone got COVID at a restaurant or at a gym? Do you know how they do that?
I mean, go ahead.
Contact tracing, right? Contact tracing.
And you can also use your fucking brain. Like, if you're doing physical exercise in a gym, you're going to breathe a lot more.
I'm not going to listen to people making excuses for hundreds of thousands of people gathering shoulder to shoulder, screaming, tell me about using your brain. Okay?
If you don't want to.
Contact tracing is how they were coming up with the study that you just talked about. If you get COVID, they ask you, where all were you at? And then they're able to once enough people get COVID, they're able to look and they're able to determine by asking everyone where they went, the places where they may have got COVID. That's how they do it. So when people say, actually, Black Lives Matter didn't spread COVID, would it surprise you to know that they told the contact tracers not to ask people if they attended Black Lives Matter rallies? Now, why would they do that?
And how do you explain the lack of spike, basically, when it comes to case, like 3 weeks after a protest?
Because it wasn't the time of year where there were spikes in COVID?
Wait, but they still attend protest. If protests are responsible for spreading COVID,
let me ask you
as much as indoor gathering.
Okay, here we go. Did Dylan attend a rally a couple weeks ago in DC?
Yep.
Did COVID cases spike around that time?
You know that there's a period of incubation for the virus.
Right. COVID cases are spiking right now, right? When was that rally? Oh, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Time for the incubation period, right? The truth is these Black Lives Matter rallies have been occurring the entire time. Maybe if we didn't have left-wingers and left-wing health experts by the thousands saying it's okay to go out there and violate social distance orders, maybe the illness would have been wiped out. But no, hypocrite pieces of shit like you didn't care about the pandemic. It was more important for you to go LARP and wear your mask with your little shield saying, we hate white supremacy. That was more important. So you chose, or your friends chose, to violate the social distance orders. Saying, but we don't know if that caused the spread. You knew it had the chance to, and you were selfish pieces of shit, and you didn't care.
You done? Oh, okay, sorry. Aren't your country basically in general is like basically on like there's an increasing number of cases of COVID cases right now?
Yep.
So how do you identify basically that like this protest in particular was responsible for this spike? Because basically that was your argument. The number of cases are raising.
No. Your argument was, that wasn't my argument. The inverse is true. It was your argument that Black Lives Matter must not have spread COVID because we didn't see a spike in case after the rallies. That's bullshit. We have.
Show me where.
Okay, was there Black Lives Matter rallies recently?
Sorry, this is the most stupid argument ever.
Right, you are making the dumbest fucking argument I've ever heard. There have been Black Lives Matter rallies continuously all summer. Have there been spikes in cases?
No.
Yes.
Not due to the protest.
Prove it.
Oh, easy. Give me a sec.
Right, you're going to cite evidence that says contact tracers say that there's no evidence that these rallies caused spikes in cases. But the contact tracers were told not to ask people if they attended the rallies.
No, not by contact tracing. I link you to study who aren't based on contact tracing. But go ahead.
And any scientist that says large gatherings spread COVID, but not Black Lives Matter, is a fucking liar, is a partisan hack.
No,
the bottom line is this. You knew that Dr. Fauci and other experts said don't go to large gatherings. So did everybody that attended Black Lives Matter rallies. So did Dylan Burns. No matter what you say, you can...
What the fuck are you talking about?
So your argument is Dylan and Black Lives Matter was unaware that the experts were saying don't attend large rallies. That's your argument?
No.
Okay, that's what I just said. They all knew that the experts were saying don't attend large rallies. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, yet they were selfish pieces of shit and chose to risk spreading COVID by attending that rally. Your argument, yeah, but maybe it didn't spread COVID as much as other places, is fucking irrelevant. They made the selfish choice. They understood there was a risk to spreading COVID by showing up to that rally, and they fucking did it anyways, which I was fine with. What I wasn't fine with was then taking the next step to say, oh, but we're going to call out and blame other people who chose to violate the orders. Like they're dumb and selfish.
This is amazing that you don't see the difference between...
I see the fucking difference. The difference is one person's trying to keep their business alive and the other people wanted to LARP and go out and play the fucking victim when they went out with shields and stuff because they knew that they wanted to go out and fight the Proud Boys, and then when they got their ass kicked, they made video after video crying about it. That's the difference. The difference is you're a fucking piece of shit hypocrite that blames the other side for violating the orders, and the other side didn't blame you for violating the orders. That's the difference. You saying, but it's okay for us to risk spreading COVID. It's okay for us to risk spreading COVID because we think other people are doing it worse. You're still a piece of shit. You don't know more than the scientist. You took what the scientist said, don't gather in large rallies, and you said, fuck it. My personal opinion's more important than the scientist. So I'm going to go ahead and go out and do it. And then when I'm called out in my hypocrisy, I'll say, but, there's a difference. The other people did it worse.
All right. Do you have any evidence that, like, BLM protests in particular caused a spike in COVID?
Why is that fucking relevant? Because I already went through the relevant evidence. Did Dr. Fauci say there was a chance that rallies like this would spread the disease?
Can you answer my question?
Did Dr. Fauci say that gatherings like this risk spreading the disease?
Can you answer my question?
Yes, I'll answer your question. Yes. There were Black Lives Matter rallies, and then there were increases in cases. There's your evidence. Now, can you answer my question? Did Dr. Fauci say that gatherings like this risk spreading the disease?
Yesterday I did sport, like I did exercise in my home, and the number of cases in France rise. Therefore, like me doing sport in my house is increasing the number. Like, can you make a direct link, you dumb fuck?
Can you make a direct link to that gym?
Yes.
So let's see it. Let's see it.
I already sent you the link.
I read that link, and I read that link. I'll bring it up on the channel right now. And nowhere did I see the name of that New Jersey gym. I didn't see it anywhere.
Who fucking cares?
I didn't see it anywhere.
Gym. Okay.
Show me the evidence of that gym. Restaurant gyms were super spreader sites. Occupancy limits could control COVID. Notice it doesn't say lockdowns. It says occupancy limits. Did you know that gym did put occupancy limits? They operated at 20% capacity.
Where? Please
That
show
gym?
me where.
That's what they did. That's what they were. What they were giving.
They don't even fucking wear masks. They literally say we don't give a shit about science. This is literally like show the video on stream and tell me that this guy like doing any type of rules when it comes to COVID. They don't give a shit. They don't ask their customer to wear masks. They don't do anything.
They reported early as in July, I don't have the article in front of me, that they were following occupancy limits, that they were washing down and wiping down machines, that they were told that they weren't required to wear masks when they were in there, like indoor dining.
I don't see the name of this gym.
Right. Your evidence doesn't have the name of the gym either. Show me the evidence that gym caused one case of COVID. Show me the evidence that gym caused one case of... You want me to provide evidence...
You're literally asking me something and you're not respecting it. What the fuck? Like,
what are you talking about? You said your standard for me was I had to show you that at rallies like Dylan went to caused COVID. Show me that the gym that you said should be in jail caused COVID.
I ask you, like BLM protest in general. BLM protest. Black Lives Matter protests made by Democrats where people were wearing masks, distributing masks, distributing hand sanitizer. Please show me that Black Lives Matter protest.
How would I do that? How would I do that? How would I do that? How would I do it? What would the science look like that showed that? How would we know? Hypothetically, how would I do it? I would say, okay, there was a Black Lives Matter protest, and then how do I determine whether or not they increase the cases of COVID?
There's a shit ton of study about like protest, like different type of.
How would the studies go about it? How would the studies go about it? What would they do?
Look at the fucking methodology. Like there's a shit ton of way, basically.
I'll tell you what they would do.
No.
I tell you what they would do. They would take COVID cases, they would look at people that got COVID, and then they would find out the areas that those people went to. Yeah, that's how they would do, right? De Blasio tells COVID contact tracers not to ask positive cases if they attended Black Lives Matter protest. That's the article I just sent you.
Real quick.
So you want me to find evidence showing people that went to Black Lives Matter rallies got COVID when the fucking people commissioning the studies won't allow the scientists to ask people if they went to Black Lives Matter rallies because they're fucking hypocrite pieces of shit.
That's for New York. You got the whole rest of the...
It was the same shit everywhere. I don't care that a bunch of hypocritical fucking scientists that support Black Lives Matter are unwilling to say, oh, yeah, and a bunch of fucking illness was spread at these rallies.
That's so crazy that I managed to find study about like Black Lives Matter protests when it came to COVID.
Now, get back to my question, because all of this is irrelevant anyway. The question is, your hypocritical moral ass. Did Dr. Fauci say that gathering at rallies like this had the potential to risk spreading COVID?
Yes.
Did people you support ignore that anyways?
Yes.
Okay, so they made a decision. They were willing to risk spreading COVID for their own selfish reasons.
And did they spread?
That's not the question. COVID? The question isn't did they? No, it's not. They were selfish fucking hypocrites. They knew there was a chance that they could spread it, and they did it anyways.
And so is the dumb fuck who opened his gym.
Okay, fair enough. And you think one should be in jail and the other are great people.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a fucking hypocrite.
Not the part about being great people, but there's a difference between the two. Again,
No, there's
difference
not.
between
Both of
jaywalking
them.
and-
Both of them.
Okay,
You
so
saying
we're
there's a
going back
difference?
to
Both
a
of them
crime is a
risk
crime.
killing.
Jaywalking is equivalent to robbing a bank.
No,
Again.
both of them knew that they were risking endangering people's lives, right?
Not to the same extent.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
No, it doesn't. It still makes you an
jaywalk,
immoral,
you-
shitty person. And then
All right, so-
it makes you even worse to then blame people that got sick. Remember, that's how we started this whole conversation, right? You claimed anyone who got sick wasn't taking the science seriously, wasn't following social distance orders.
Not what I said.
Let's go back to see what you said. People who wear masks and respect try their best to respect social distancing, trust science, and don't cry about it, don't get sick. Curious, huh?
Can you read the message after that? My
Oh,
message
after
that.
I called you out for being a fucking piece of shit hypocrite?
I don't give a shit about your interpretation of my message. Can
Right.
you read the
I know you
message after
don't,
that?
because you're a fucking hypocrite. Because you blamed me for getting COVID. Remember,
Can you
are
read
you
the
saying
message
now?
after
Are you
that?
saying you didn't
Can you
say
read
this
the
as well?
message after
But
that?
hey, Dylan went to a
don't give a
protest
shit. Can
wearing
you
a
read the
mask,
message
tried
after
his
that?
best to respect social distancing, and didn't get COVID. You, on the other hand, did you say that?
Can you read the message after that?
I blame every person who got sick and who debated the efficiency of masks.
Thank you.
So you say, and I quote, I say, so your claim everyone who got sick didn't respect social distancing? You said, quote, I blame every person who got sick and who debated the efficiency of masks. So you're blaming two groups of people, everyone who got sick and those who debated the efficiency of masks.
You don't know how to read. I don't.
No, I do know how to
at
read.
this point.
I know fucking coward hypocrites who get called out for blaming people for getting COVID for violating
Piece of
social
shit,
distancing orders, which
hypocrite
you
and
suggest.
everything, Again.
Now, let's
Yeah.
talk about you specifically, Mr. Geck. What a big man you are, first, to have to ask Dylan permission for how to respond on Twitter. What a big man you are. It must feel nice to be second banana to someone who tells you who you could respond to on Twitter. What a big man, right? Go ahead, please tell us. Do you need to ask Dylan permission again? Go ahead. Go ask him permission. I'll wait.
This is not funny.
Yeah, go ahead. Get his permission. Please tell us again how it's okay for your side to risk spreading the pandemic because they're not as bad as the gym owner, so it's okay. Please go ahead.
Dylan asked me to not basically spam on his wall. He's my friend. I respect the fact that he doesn't want me to send 20 messages when he's not involved, and yeah. I respected that.
Yeah, I
If you want to
get it. I
interpret
get it. Right. I mean, you clearly don't have much intelligence on your own, so it probably is better for you to listen to Dylan. That totally makes sense. I get it.
You're
but hey, what do you
so
know?
triggered, my dude.
What?
This is so funny.
It is funny.
love
It
this.
is funny watching morally fucking vacuous hypocrites like you
Yeah,
that
I
want to
know.
make
Every
fun of
crime
people
is
for
the
trying
same.
to open their business, but think that it's important for them to risk spreading the pandemic by going out and LARPing. How many videos did you do with Dylan talking, oh, poor Dylan's friends that showed up with bats and shields that were throwing shit at Proud Boys and then got beat up by the Proud Boys? Mr. Geck, can't you get in on that too? Don't you need to claim some of that victimhood too? While you're blaming people for getting sick? Go ahead. Let's hear how you're the victim as well, Mr. Geck. You fucking piece of shit. How's your business doing? You sound comfortable. Are you getting plenty of subs? Sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, huh? You getting that corporate game money? I mean, it's okay to make fun of other people who want to open their business and their livelihood, but as long as you got money, it's perfectly fine, right? You fucking hypocrite piece of shit. People wanting to open their business, well, they're immoral people because they could be spreading COVID. But your friends that want to go out and LARP and cry when the Proud Boys beat them up, that's important shit. As long as they have their corporate sponsors, right?
Who are you fighting against? What the fuck does
I'm
that
fighting
have to do
against
with me?
you fucking idiot.
When did I talk about like Raid Shadow Legend and like what the fuck
Well,
are you talking about?
that's the
I
show
don't
you
even know
edit
anymore.
for. That's the show you edit for. It's cool for you to make fun of people that want to have a livelihood and say they should be in prison for violating the exact same social distance orders that you're celebrating other people for violating for. Meanwhile, as we got, the COVID deaths per capita are in fact higher in all of these Democrat-controlled areas. You good? You good?
I have no idea where we are right now. I have no idea who you're fighting with. Like, yeah, I don't know. Don't feel like it's against me, so yeah. Sure, go ahead.
Sure. I'm fighting against someone who blamed people for getting COVID for not violating social distance orders and then celebrated other people violating social distance orders.
I blame dumb fucks who debated the efficiency of the utility of wearing a mask and everything.
Right. So it was okay for you to violate social distance orders, or it was okay for you to debate whether or not the social distance orders were important.
First of all, I'm in France, you dumb fuck. What the fuck are you talking
Well,
about?
then why don't you keep your fucking mouth to yourself before you're blaming people in America for getting COVID? I'm in France isn't a defense to being a fucking hypocrite loser.
I don't need to, the same way I don't need to, I'm done making this argument, but yeah. The same way I don't need to have a pilot license to understand that if I see an helicopter in a tree, someone fucked up. I don't need to live in the US to understand that this is a dumb shit argument to want to keep your gym open.
I didn't say
you're in the period of COVID and everything.
I'm not the one who said you shouldn't be allowed to comment because you're in France. You're the one who wants reprieve from being called out in your hypocrisy by saying, but I'm in France. You're the fucking one. How many times do you do this shit? Why are you making it partisan when I talk about Republicans being the problem? Why are you talking about me being in France when I brought up being in France as a defense? You fucking idiot.
You said I was in a protest and everything. Like, what
I did not. I said you celebrated people that were protesting. Oh, and they're not protesting France? Did you call out the people in France that were protesting the other day for violating social distance orders? Did you say they should be in jail?
They didn't do a protest indoor. They didn't say to not wear masks. They didn't went to a place that is known to be a super spreader and say let's have a large gathering there. Do you understand the difference?
Scientists said there were two things. Scientists.
Do you understand the difference between indoor and outdoor?
No, what I understand is how hypocrites like you will always make defenses of when you break the law or break orders and then say, but other people doing it should be punished. That's what I understand. Do you understand scientists said there were two separate things that we should do to reduce the spread of COVID? One, social distance. Second, wear a mask. You're saying, I don't think number one's that important.
There's three, so large gathering as well. And
right, that's what social distancing is.
Not really, but yeah.
Okay, so you say scientists said there were two things, wear a mask and social distance. In fact, you even admitted earlier, in reality, the social distancing is actually more important. Because what they said was, you should stay at home, you should social distance. But if you can't, you should wear a mask. So in other words, the most
important, if we have to rank the importance of all of these rules, wearing a mask is obviously at the top of the list.
Bullshit. Show me any scientist that says that. All of them said what you should do first and foremost is avoid gatherings and stay at home as best as possible. That's what they said. Actually, people like you make it worse because you say it's okay to violate social distancing as long as you wear a mask. So now you have hundreds of thousands of people. By the way, did you know that according to the same scientists, that disproportionately per capita, it's black people that are being infected with COVID? I wonder why, when we have hundreds of thousands of people going into inner city black neighborhoods. You don't think there could be some sort of connection? But people like you are saying, that's good. Go ahead. Go out there in black communities by the hundreds of thousands. Go ahead. It's perfectly fine. Don't listen to the scientists. Don't worry about social distancing. That's what you've said. And then you get on your high horse and say, I'm smart. People that argue about masks are dumb. While you're literally telling people to ignore the scientist.
You're done?
I'll wait for you to say something else, dumb fuck, and then point it out.
First of all, mask avoid basically droplets of saliva and everything basically to go through. Even a fucking cotton mask is better than anything else. Which means that if you have to go to a place, let's say like a fucking Target and everything, you don't spread your shit all over the place. This is as simple as that. I can.
You know what else stops droplets? You know what else stops droplets from going to other people? Staying at home. But you're against that.
5Ed. Like,
did I say I'm against masks? Did I ever say I was against masks? Here's the difference.
We had a debate like a few months ago where you literally said that masks were not important.
That's not what I said. I said the first most important thing was social distancing.
Masks didn't work, sorry.
That's not what I said. Bring it up. Bring up the video of it. I'll tell you what I did do. In March, when the CDC said, don't wear masks, I said on my show before any other show I've seen, that was bullshit. That's what I said. I said, how the hell do they know masks aren't effective at this early stage of the game? That's ridiculous. That's what I said. I also said that I wear a mask everywhere I go. What I did say was, there is a problem with masks in this sense that there are tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands even, that say, as long as I wear a mask, I can violate social distance orders. Like you. That's the problem with masks. They're not the end all be all. We're supposed to social distance and then use a mask if we have to go out into public. That's what the scientists recommend. You're saying, fuck that. Go ahead and go out by the hundreds of thousands as long as you wear the mask. You're spreading the pandemic. Your ideology. And you say, but it's okay because the gym owner's worse. Fuck you. And then you you blame me because I got COVID and Dylan didn't. That's what the whole issue is. You trying to deflect, but do you understand the difference? Yes, I understand the difference between me and you. I wore a mask, I social distanced, and you celebrated people that didn't social distance. That's the difference. And then you said, and other people that didn't social distance should be in jail.
And crazy enough, you don't see spike after BLM protests, but you see spike after, like, for instance, I don't know, people going to the gym, people going to the restaurant and everything. Funny.
I don't care what you say. You're literally advocating for making the choice of
violating.
You're saying it was okay for us to violate the social distance orders because the scientists were wrong. Actually, we violated the orders and COVID didn't spread. That's your argument. You knew there was a change. You knew the scientists said that going to these gatherings would help spread COVID, but you cheered for people to do it anyways. And then your excuse is, but I don't see evidence that that was responsible for spreading COVID. You don't definitively know it wasn't. You can't prove that people didn't get sick. You know the scientists told you, please, stay home. You celebrated people that said, nah, fuck that. I'm a Democrat. I want to go out and protest. You said, that's good. And then you say, prove to me that that caused someone to get COVID.
I never... Can you show me where I said that it was good?
So you don't think it was a good thing that Dylan went out?
If you can stay home, the thing with BLM protests is that it started after George Floyd got killed. Basically, it started because someone got killed, and this is how protests fucking work.
Right.
Something happened, and after that, people
they violated the orders.
People are fucking angry. They want to protest, and that's how protests happen.
Okay, should they go? Should they be in jail? Should they be in jail?
Sure. If they were as much as dumb fucks as the
there you go. There you go. There's the hypocrite. Right. It's okay for them to violate some orders.
The difference between a gym, who is a closed place, between an open space. You don't understand the difference between
I do understand the difference. I understand the difference.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I do understand the difference.
You're thinking this is the same thing.
I do understand the difference. You're doing everything you can to make excuses for people that you politically agree with. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. This is because I agree with them. This is not.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Because there's a difference between indoor and outdoor. This is not because there's a difference between people wearing masks and people not wearing masks. This is just because they're Democrat. Of course, you got me, you dumb fuck.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Exactly.
How else could you explain?
Right.
You're saying it's okay to violate the scientist orders as long as it was for a certain situation. It's okay. Can you explain to us why you know better than the scientists which orders of theirs we're allowed to violate?
I never say it's okay.
Well, then what are you talking about? It's a difference. Don't you understand the difference? The difference is they made a conscious choice to violate the fucking social distance orders. And for you to say some people who made the conscious decision to violate social distance orders should be in jail and other people shouldn't be proves you're a fucking hypocrite. No, I'll do what I want. How about this? I wouldn't be yelling if you didn't blame me for getting COVID. How about that? I understand cowards like you. I get it. You're hypocrites, you're cowards. Please don't yell. Please don't call me out on Twitter. Please don't. After you blamed me for getting COVID. You fucking worm. Oh, don't yell. There's no need to yell. Fuck you. As much as I hate you and think you're an untalented, stupid, hypocrite, shitty person, I would never blame you for getting COVID. You fucking loser. So to sit here and act like you got some kind of moral high ground, you fucking piece of shit scumbag, it's so laughable. But you've proved throughout the entire context of this, I'm so glad to have you on here because it's great. You're a metaphor for what the problem is with so many people on the left. It's okay for us to violate the orders. Other people that violated the orders more, though, they're stupid. They're anti-science. So are you, you stupid fuck.
I did.
Until I feel like it again.
Okay. How about we have this conversation with someone that can let me speak without like you yelling every time?
Well, here's a good case. Try this. Whoever that person is, how about you blame them if they or their loved ones get COVID and then see how calm the conversation is?
I don't give a shit if it's calm or not, but if you're going to yell and not listen to anything and just say,
okay.
You know what? I don't give a shit about what you have to say. Yeah, like, I mean, it's funny on my side. I'm having fun, but yeah.
I'm glad you're having fun. I'm glad you're having fun. And I get it. I get it. Again, the classic tactic from you fucks on the left that do this. Go out and say the most heinous shit to people, and then when they respond with anger, go, well, I'm just not going to respond if you're going to be angry and yell. Right.
Oh, no, I'm going to
it's
respond.
Classic. It's classic.
I'm trying to respond.
Right. You're doing a piss poor job of it, but yeah, I get that you're trying.
Yeah, because you're yelling all the time.
Right, because you blamed me for getting COVID and my family. When you're the assholes that are out there recommending violating social distance orders.
Again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase it. You were defending people that chose to violate social distance orders. Right? Think of the balls that takes. Someone gets COVID. You're going to say, well, I'm defending a person who violated the scientific orders on how to stop the spread of COVID. I'm defending them, and I'm going to basically blame you yourself for getting COVID. Think of the balls that takes.
Because there's dumb fuck like you who debate the utility of masks.
I didn't debate the utility of masks. I said exactly. Bring it up. Bring it up. Bring it up.
This is the problem with dumb fucks like you. I need to save the word of everything. This debate happened like, I don't know, 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Right.
And you were like, you literally like, fuck me, give me a sec. I have a link I saved basically that you posted thinking that it was like proving that masks were inefficient and you don't read the shit you post. This link is something that you posted.
Let's see it.
Something I saved because I thought this was so funny that you posted this shit. When it says literally basically the opposite.
Let's see it.
I sent it.
Where's it at?
You literally posted this link during the debate with we had on Prime Kai show. And you thought that this meant that basically masks were fucking inefficient. This is how you posted this link, and this is why I remember this conversation.
As states reopen stay-at-home orders, many, including California, are now requiring people to wear masks. Both the CDC and World Health Organization now recommend cloth masks. But earlier in the pandemic, both organizations recommended just the opposite. Health experts say evidence is clear masks can prevent the spread of COVID, and that more people are willing to wear masks, the better. We talked to UC San Francisco epidemiologist George Rutherford, infectious disease specialist, about this. Why is the CDC changing their guidance? The original guidance partly was based on what was thought to be low prevalence in the pandemic. None of this says masks don't work. What I was talking about was how the CDC lied to us. I said from the get-go that it seemed stupid.
And you use
this
argument to say that masks basically...
No, I didn't, you stupid fucker! I said...
You literally did.
No, I didn't. You literally just posted an article. You said you posted this article to show that masks don't work. And it's literally an article that says masks work. You stupid son of a bitch. You stupid son of a bitch. I'm going to prove that you posted an article that say masks don't work by posting this article that says masks work. You dumb son of a bitch. My argument from the entire point has been this. I don't know if masks work or not. I don't know. I know this, that the CDC was stupid in March when they said, don't go out and get masks. I said it was stupid, and now we know they lied to us, and if masks really do work, who knows how many people they caused to die by saying, don't go out and get a mask. When instead, all they had to do was say, hey, you got an old t-shirt? Cut it up and make a mask. That's what they could have said, but they didn't. I said I could understand why people are skeptical about masks because so much of what we see from these experts and these politicians has been about control. Because we see people like Gavin Newsom say, you can't go to Thanksgiving dinner while he goes out to the French Laundry and has dinner with his friends and family. We see thousands of scientists say, health experts say, you need to avoid all large gatherings. You can't go to work. You can't go to church. But you could go out there by the hundreds of thousands and protest for Black Lives Matter. So I understand why people would say, I don't believe anything these hypocritical assholes say. I get that. I understand why people would question a vaccine when we had Governor Cuomo just a month ago saying he wouldn't trust a vaccine that came from Trump and Project Warp Speed, where we had Kamala Harris say she wouldn't trust a vaccine, when we had Joe Biden suggest he would be skeptical of a vaccine, when we had health experts saying there's no way we could have a vaccine in under a year, it would take a miracle. So I understand people that would question it. And I said from the get-go that I understand why people wouldn't trust people like these Democratic leaders that said, oh, you can't go to work, you can't go to church because we need to protect the vulnerable from COVID. And then they intentionally sent COVID patients into nursing homes, which killed tens of thousands of them. That's what I said. I never said masks don't work. I've said on my show over and over, I don't make medical recommendations to people. I don't tell people whether or not they should take a vaccine, whether or not they should take a particular medication, whether or not they should wear a mask. I don't do that. Here's what I do. I do wear the mask. And I've been ridiculed by people for saying that. But I still said it. So for you to come on here and just fucking lie after you blamed me myself from getting COVID and you're defending people that violate the social distance orders is fucking laughable. Got any more articles that I supposedly linked that say masks work that you think prove that I say masks don't work?
No, but what you say explained a lot. Like, if you take your science from politician, yeah, I understand why you think the way you do.
I don't take my science from politicians.
I haven't heard any argument from, like, any scientist. You just talk about politics.
You haven't heard any argument from any scientist. Did I, how many times have I said, did Dr. Fauci say to avoid large gatherings? Is he a politician? Which one of us personally defended in this context people violating Dr. Fauci's suggestion? Which one of us was that?
Can you find me the quote of Fauci about large gathering? Because basically,
because now you don't know if he said
it. No. Because there's a caveat to it that is really important. If you have to go, there's still some shit that you can do to reduce the spread. Like, for instance, wearing a mask. Like, for instance, using hand sanitizer. Like, for instance, social distancing.
Wait, say again?
You cannot always... There's a caveat to what he say, which is that basically, like, his quote is like, you should wear mask, you should social distance, you should use hand sanitizer, and you should avoid large crowd. If you cannot avoid large crowd, you can still do all of those other things, basically to avoid getting COVID or spreading COVID.
He said to avoid large gatherings. June 5th, 2020. Dr. Anthony Fauci says large protests taking place across the country are, quote, a perfect setup for spreading COVID-19. Dr. Anthony Fauci said that many of the protests against racism and police brutality taking across the country involving congregation of large crowds raises the risk of transmission of COVID-19. Fauci told DC radio station WTOP on Friday that it's, quote, it is a perfect setup for the spread of the virus in the sense that creating these blips might turn into some surges. Fauci emphasized that while protesters have a constitutional right to demonstrate, people gathering closely together, chanting, and possibly not wearing masks increases the likelihood of more outbreaks. It's a delicate balance because the reasons for demonstrating are valid, and yet the demonstration itself puts one at an additional risk. And?
Sorry, what?
Right, sorry. You want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Sure.
No,
I'll read it again, just so your audience could hear what a fucking hypocrite piece of shit you are as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Dr. Anthony Fauci said that many of the protests against racism and police brutality taking place across the country involving congregations of large crowds raises the risk of transmission of COVID-19. Fauci told the DC radio station WTOP on Friday that, quote, it is a perfect setup for the spread of the virus in the sense, and creating these blips might turn them into large surges. Fauci emphasized that while protesters have the constitutional right to demonstrate, people gathering closely together, chanting, and possibly not wearing masks increases the likelihood of more outbreaks. It's a delicate balance because the reasons for demonstrating are valid, he said, and yet the demonstration itself puts one at an additional risk. Perfect setup for spreading the virus, he says.
And possibly not wearing masks.
Right, and he didn't even say definitely. He said possibly. Right. He talks about all of those things would spread the virus. He doesn't say, as long as they're wearing masks, it's okay. He says, even if possibly they are wearing or not wearing masks, it's the perfect setup for spreading the virus. That's what he said. Okay, was that good enough for you? Now, you're defending people that are violating social distancing orders from Dr. Fauci. That's what you're doing. You think people should be in jail that don't listen to Dr. Fauci in some degrees, but in other degrees, you think they're to be defended.
Do you
No, tell us why Dr. Fauci's wrong. Tell us why Dr. Fauci's wrong there. Tell us why it's okay to... Tell us why it's okay to violate... It's okay to go to these protests. Tell us why it's okay. Now, remember, you blamed Dylan, who went to one of these rallies. You said he took social distancing seriously and he didn't get COVID, unlike me. So go on, tell me what I did that made me more to be blamed for getting COVID. Did I violate those orders? Did I attend a big rally? No, I didn't. But you're going to blame me and my family for getting COVID. And all the other people, which is what your comment said, that have got COVID.
And oddly enough, like, we don't see basically spikes of like COVID cases when BLM protests happen. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I can explain you're a fucking hypocrite. I can explain that they told them not to contact trace at Black Lives Matter things. I can explain that you're trying to change the subject because you literally advocated people that don't listen to social distance orders should be in jail. And when it's pointed out that the very people you're defending violating social distancing orders, you changed the subject. Yes, we know Dr. Fauci said it could spread. Yes, you did. The question isn't did it spread COVID or not? That's not the question. The question isn't you're so stupid. The question isn't did it spread COVID or not? The question is did the scientists warn that it could spread COVID? That's the difference.
It's the difference. It's legit.
No, it's not.
When you have
no, it's not. You don't get to say, I advocate for not listening to the scientists because I know more than the scientists and I know that it won't spread COVID. Bullshit. You know that these people knew they were taking a risk of spreading COVID by attending these rallies and they fucking did it anyways. And then to say, well, a bunch of corrupt assholes that wouldn't even allow contact tracing to ask if people attended BLM rallies.
In New York, you still have 49 other states.
So
there's data available, and all the data so far show that, BLM didn't participate in any significant way to spreading COVID.
No, my articulation is, I don't give a fuck if a bunch of lying scientists tell us that if I go to one rally, I could get COVID, but if I go to another, I didn't. They warned. The important thing is this. People knew they were taking a risk going to these rallies to spread COVID. They didn't know. When Dylan attended that rally, he didn't know if that was going to be a hot spot for COVID or not. All of the George Floyd protests throughout the summer, they didn't know if they were going to be super spreader events. They didn't know. We still don't know if they were or not. But they didn't know at the time. That's the important thing. And they said, we don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck that the scientists are telling us not to attend these large gatherings. We're going to do it anyways. And people like you didn't have a problem with it. But then you go on and you blame someone like me for getting COVID. And you say people that just want to keep their businesses open to provide for their families, they should be in jail.
Oh, is it my turn to do the dance of you don't understand the difference between...
Right, that's the only argument you have. You don't understand the difference. You see, when I raped the woman, I wore a condom. I wore a condom when I raped the woman, so the other person didn't wear a condom, so they're terrible. They should go to jail. But I wore a condom when I raped her, so it was okay.
No, you're still comparing jaywalking to robbing a bank.
Okay, well, hey, I tell you what. We'll see you later, Mr. Geck. You const Dylan, a guest being on his show. That's fine. You're a worthless, talentless hack, hypocrite piece of shit that wants to blame people for getting COVID. I won't wish COVID on you. I wish you happiness in life. And I hope that you never suffer the consequences. I hope that you never suffer the consequences of the hypocritical authoritarianism that you ask on others. May you never lose your job and then have people suggest you go to jail for wanting to provide for your family. May you never get people, if you get sick, to blame you for getting sick, unlike what you're willing to do to other people. So thanks so much for coming on the show, and enjoy your fucking worthless evening and costing people like Dylan a guest on their show. That's cool. You guys could just have a big left-wing circle jerk. I'm sure that'll be good for ratings. So way to cost your friend a guest on his show. I hope it was worth it.
Yeah, you too, I did.
See ya. Let me get a water. I'll be right back. Why am I yelling at him? Why? He wants to know, why am I yelling? I wonder. The French will never win. So he did exactly as I predicted. He backtracked. Linear aggression. I don't know if you understand what the word trigger me. Dylan's not responsible for the opinions of Geck. Well, let me tell you what Dylan is responsible for. He saw what Geck said. He could have said, yeah, that was over the line. He didn't. And I understand that he's not responsible for the opinions of Mr. Geck. But Mr. Geck is someone who helped set the shows up for Dylan, and I will not be part of a show where someone who's blaming me and my wife for getting COVID. If Dylan wants to remove all ties he has with Mr. Geck in coordinates with him putting together those shows, then perhaps I'd be willing to come on Dylan's show. Until said time, I will not be willing to come on Dylan's show. Much as if I had someone who blamed, like Dylan's probably had tragedies in his family. I think that he's had family members that passed away. If one of my co-hosts on my radio show, made fun of Dylan and said that that woman blamed her for her own death or something like that, I would fully expect Dylan to say, Rob, either sever ties with that person or I don't want to deal with you anymore. SJG Perspective was saying masks were ineffective the whole time I was talking. He linked a huge document filled with studies, none of which proved his point. There was a study out of somewhere in Europe that suggested that masks weren't effective. I know SJG thinks that masks aren't effective. I don't know if they are or not. I know that the reason they're being pushed isn't because they're potentially effective. They're being pushed for political reasons. That's why they're being pushed. But I have no idea if they're effective or not. I choose to wear one. I disagree with people all the time. I've even told people on here several times, if for nothing else, don't yell when some $9.50 an hour employee tells you to wear a mask. It's not their fault. If you don't want to wear the mask, then don't go to that place of business if they require you to wear a mask. That's been my take on it. But I understand that the reason that this stuff's being pushed is to control us. That's what it is. That doesn't mean that the mask isn't effective. I don't know. I choose to wear one. I don't tell people what to do. That's the difference. I don't blame Dylan or Black Lives Matter for spreading the pandemic. I don't. They should be allowed to go out there and protest. Now, as soon as they get violent, they should be arrested with the fullest extent of the law. But they should be allowed to protest. Go back and check my entire channel. Have I ever once said that they shouldn't be allowed together? Who is trying to control us by encouraging masks? The entire reaction to this pandemic is to intentionally collapse the middle class. If it was really about keeping us safe, why did Democrat leaders put COVID patients in nursing homes? Why do they continue to violate their own orders? Why did they refuse to give $1,200 checks to people until it appeared Joe Biden won the election? Who is trying to collapse the middle class? The people embracing the lockdowns, the people that are hypocrites, the people that are saying you can't go to work or go to church, but you could go to the liquor store or the casino. The people that are saying that you can't go visit your mom in a nursing home, but they'll intentionally put COVID patients in with your mom in the nursing home. That's who's trying to collapse the middle class. To usher in more government control and globalism. That's their goal. Why did they put COVID patients into nursing homes? Here's the difference. I say people should be allowed to make the decisions for themselves. You're afraid of COVID? No one's telling you can't stay in your house. Do it. Fine by me. Want to go protest for Black Lives Matter? Fine. Want to keep your business open? Fine. That's my take on it. Now, you might disagree. You might say, no. I think that you shouldn't have the personal choice. I think you have to follow all these orders. I heavily disagree with you, but fair enough. At least you're not being a hypocrite. But as soon as you say it's okay for certain people to violate the orders, but not for other people, you're a fucking hypocrite. Yes, I think there's a conspiracy. I like the word conspiracy there. But yes, this is intentional to collapse the working class. That is exactly what it is. for a great reset. That's exactly what it is. Or can you explain to me the science behind putting COVID patients in nursing homes? Check something real quick. General Noxa says, I don't think anyone but Cuomo ordered patients in the nursing home. Cuomo, Whitmer, Murphy, Tom Wolf. New Jersey and New York are number 1 and 2 for per capita deaths. Both of them intentionally put COVID patients in nursing home. Before they stopped keeping track, over 60% of the deaths from COVID in those states were in nursing homes. Pennsylvania was approaching 60 to 70% as well. So in other words, more than half the deaths in the states that had the most deaths came from a disastrous policy where Democratic leaders intentionally put COVID patients in nursing homes. Then they point to those deaths and say, see, look how bad COVID is. Now we have to lock down the healthy age population that's at a 99.975 chance of surviving COVID, but will intentionally infect the people with a 96% chance of surviving with COVID. That's what they did. And if you thought that only Cuomo did that, you're mistaken, General Noxa. Isn't that terrible that at least 4 leaders did that? How many people do I think are in on the plan to collapse the middle class? I don't know. How many people do you think were in on the plan to intentionally bury the Hunter Biden story? Quite a bit, right? But linear regression, I get it. I get your, oh my God, this guy's a crazy conspiracy theorist. I've answered your questions generously. Can you explain to me why Democratic governors would intentionally put COVID patients in nursing homes? Now, Dr. Zoidberg, I could link, but I'm not going to. There's something called Google. I prefer DuckDuckGo. Go ahead and search it yourself. I don't have time to go search this. It's common knowledge that these places all put COVID patients in nursing home. They didn't just fuck up, Tom. Let me ask you this, Tom. Tom, are you an epidemiologist? Someone give me another explanation. Go ahead, linear regression. Give me another possible explanation. Tom or linear, give me a possible explanations for why they put COVID patients in nursing homes. Right, I know that Tom's not an epidemiologist. Tom, let me ask you this. There's going to be a bad virus that comes next year. I don't know what it's called. We'll say it's called Virus X. Virus X is going to be a really bad virus. Tom, who do you think that it'll be most likely to be most susceptible to die from this virus? So then, Tom, your argument is they knew that they were sentencing old people to die, but they just thought COVID was going to be bigger, so it was worth making the choice to intentionally kill those people. Oh, I see. Linear has more questions for me after not answering my question. Many other countries are requiring strict lockdown. Yes, part of the globalist agenda is to usher in to discourage nationalism. Just like, for example, we could see with Brexit, they chose to leave the EU, they chose to go against globalism, and the globalists refused to allow that bit of democracy to happen. So they're still fighting for it. Yes, there is no evidence that a bunch of hypocritical leaders that are pushing for lockdowns that they know will collapse the economy for a virus that 99.97% of people will survive that are under the age of 50. There is no reason justifiably for why they would intentionally collapse the economy in order to fight that. But that's just it, Tom. I'm tired of accepting, they were just... So what we're supposed to believe is, look, it was just totally an accident that the common person like you, Tom, you knew if you put COVID patients in nursing homes, it would kill many people in nursing homes. I knew that. You knew that. And the idea that we should somehow say, well, they meant well when they did that, when they intentionally killed the elderly. And it wasn't just that, Tom. What were they telling us? If you're against the lockdowns, then you don't care if grandma dies. So I'm supposed to believe that Governor Wolf, for example, me and your governor, Tom, he intentionally sent COVID patients into nursing homes because he was worried that hospitals would be overfilled. So he made the grim decision to intentionally kill grandma and then lectured the rest of us and said, if we don't embrace the lockdowns, we want to kill grandma. Cuomo didn't force anyone to do anything, except he forced nursing homes to accept people who had COVID. He didn't force people with COVID to go in the nursing homes. Every person placed in the nursing home was placed there by a family member or choice, not by force. He forced the nursing homes to accept COVID patients, knowing that they would spread COVID. That's what he did. CNN, a good enough article for you? Fact-checking Governor Cuomo's false claim about COVID-positive patients in nursing homes from October 2nd. New York Governor Cuomo said that nursing homes never needed to accept COVID-positive patients from hospitals in the state due to a shortage of hospital beds. During a press call Wednesday, Finger Lakes News Radio asked Cuomo about his administration's advisory in late March requiring nursing homes to accept the readmission of patients from hospitals even if they were positive for COVID. The governor's office has repeatedly said the advisory was based on federal guidance, which prohibited discrimination based on coronavirus diagnosis. The State Department of Health told CNN residents were admitted to nursing homes during that time not as an overflow facility, but because that's where they live. Cuomo said that the advisory was a precaution if hospitals became overwhelmed, calling it an anticipatory rule. We never needed nursing home beds, but we were always had the hospital beds, Cuomo told Finger Lakes News. So it just never happened in New York where they needed to say a nursing home, we need to take this person even though it's COVID positive. It never happened. Facts first. Cuomo's assertion it never happened is false. According to the report from the New York State Department of Health, 6,326 COVID positive patients were admitted to nursing home facilities, following Cuomo's mandate that nursing homes accept the readmission of COVID patients from hospitals. Whether or not this was needed, it did in fact happen. So it happened, and then Cuomo lied, just like it happened in Pennsylvania. Yes, linear aggression. Yes, that's what I think. Linear aggression. Do you think that it was responsible to send COVID patients to die in nursing homes? Do you think that if they really cared about COVID, that they would be caught not wearing masks all the time? Do you think that people like Cuomo's brother would have been violating social distance orders once he was once he was diagnosed with COVID? Answer all those questions, or I'm not answering another one from you. Thanks, Danabo. Yep, take her easy. No. Let me clarify, General X. He says the article doesn't discuss what's being discussed. You and others assert that people like Cuomo forced old people to go into nursing homes with COVID. No, if I said that, I misspoke. He forced COVID patients into nursing homes where old people were. He forced the nursing homes to accept those COVID patients. I've also read articles, read Radius, where doctors and people that work in nursing homes were saying that they felt pressure that they didn't want to refuse after Cuomo's mandate. People make bad policies all the time. So explain to me this. You are wrong. He forced over 6,000 COVID positive patients into nursing homes and then lied and said he didn't do it. And I understand that Linear and other people want to say, oh, it was just a mistake. It was just a mistake. When Newsom violated his own social distance orders, just a mistake. When Tom Wolf gave exceptions to businesses that he was friends with that they were allowed to stay open, just a mistake, just bad policy. When 1.4% of all COVID cases come from indoor dining, but that's what Cuomo and Wolf and all them decide to shut down. It was just a mistake. When even the CDC and the World Health Organization say that schools should be open, that it's one of the safest places. And our policy, our leaders still say schools have to be closed. It's just a mistake. It's always just a mistake. Just bad policy. They care about the working class. When Nancy Pelosi refused to send checks out to people until after Joe Biden was elected, it was just a mistake. When the lockdown policies doubled the wealth of places like Amazon, but 60% of small businesses will never open again, it was just a mistake. Just a mistake. What should they have done? Isn't it odd how I'm just a layman and what I initially predicted would have been a far better response than what these people did. I said, here's what we should do. Do everything we can to protect the most vulnerable population, particularly those in nursing homes and other people that were in long-term care facilities. This is what I said basically on day one. Protect them as much as possible and don't intentionally collapse the economy and take people's rights away until it proves necessary for the rest of the population. Population that's 99.975 survivable from COVID. We should have basically make their own decision and go back to life as usual. And then instead of wasting resources on locking those healthy age population people down, we should have been using those resources to ensure the most vulnerable of us were protected. They knew that it was important because they kept talking about the need to protect grandma. Remember, that's what they were telling us. As Cuomo was forcing nursing homes to accept these COVID patients, and then locking you down, the same with Tom Wolf, he was saying, if you don't agree with me, you want grandma to die. Our health secretary, Levine, actually took her mom out of a nursing home while she was telling us all how nursing homes were so safe and then forcing nursing homes to accept COVID patients. So what they should have done, instead of forcing nursing homes to accept COVID patients, if the nursing home said, we can't care for that patient here, we don't want to accept COVID patients here, they could have put them in a hospital, is what they could have done, which even Cuomo admits they never got to the extent of the ICU beds being filled. They shouldn't have said, fuck these old people, let them die, as my friend Tom suggests they did, because we're worried that we'll run out of hospital beds, so we can't waste our hospital beds on old people. They shouldn't have done that. Pretty simple. God damn it. Do I not have any mods on Twitch? Jesus. Yeah, we'll get off the Nazi. Yeah, we'll get off. Yeah, sorry, Tom. Let me bring it back. I don't know. I supposedly have mods, but
only good press.
let me find you, Tom. How do I make him? There you go, Tom. Sorry, I missed some of the chat there trying to get the Nazi. I don't mind people disagreeing, but, you know, the Nazi stuff's a bit much. Okay, General Noxa, if that's not what they suggested, explain to me why then they made the decision. We just saw what Cuomo said in that article. He said the reason we made the decision to say that these nursing homes had to accept COVID patients was we were worried that we were going to have full hospital beds. So what is that? That's a calculus that says we didn't want to waste our hospital beds on elderly people because we were afraid that we were going to have an overrun of COVID patients. So we told nursing homes that where we knew people with the highest comorbidities were, that they had to accept COVID patients. Thank you, Tom. Linear aggression. Last warning, if you imply I'm an anti-Semite again with your Jew-baiting garbage, you will be removed from this channel forever. No, Linear, I'm not blaming the Jews. I'm blaming people, anti-Semites, like the left wing's de Blasio. That's who I'm blaming. Your people, you anti-Semite piece of shit. Linear.
The last 6 months have laid bare fundamental gaps and inequities within our societies and between them. As with climate change, those who have the least are impacted.
It's just a conspiracy. They're not using this to infiltrate a bunch of globalist socialist reforms. They're not doing that. That's not what COVID's about, the reaction to it.
6 months have laid bare fundamental gaps and inequities within our societies and between them. As with climate change, those who have the least are impacted the most. That's why last spring, Canada worked with Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Secretary General Antonio Guterres to convene a high-level meeting to discuss how leaders around the world could work together to close these gaps and build a better, more equitable system that works for everyone. In May, we agreed to look at 6 urgent areas of action to mobilize financing for the response and the recovery. Over the course of the summer, our 6 working groups produced over 250 policy options. On September 8th, finance ministers gathered to discuss these options and their recommendations for the short, medium, and long term. The most promising ideas will be taken up within existing IMF and World Bank processes, as well as at the G7 and G20 leaders' summits later in the fall. Then, in December, we're going to have the opportunity to meet again to discuss the progress we've made. Because we understand that right now we have to fix urgent problems, but in the long run, we also have to fix the system so that it works for everyone. To eliminate this virus anywhere, we need to eliminate it everywhere. While scientists work around the clock to develop a vaccine, as governments, we have the responsibility to ensure it'll be distributed quickly and fairly around the world. On Friday, I announced that Canada will provide $440 million to the COVID-19 Vaccine Global Access Facility, including $220 million to the Advanced Market Commitment to help low and middle income countries access vaccines. This is an important initiative, and I encourage other governments to join in as well. We need to work together, and not just on vaccines. Canada believes that a strong, coordinated response across the world and across sectors is essential. This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change. And across sectors is essential. This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change. Is essential. This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change.
It's just a conspiracy. I mean, there we have the leader of a country admitting, oh, all of the socialist, globalist bullshit that we wanted beforehand, COVID gives us an opportunity to push forth all of those plans. Just a conspiracy, though. It's just a conspiracy. Just a conspiracy. Well, there was a comment that here's the reason. Nursing homes are equipped with some of the resources of a hospital. And so if old people want to choose voluntarily of their own free will to place themselves in nursing homes, then Cuomo allowed them. That's not the point. The point is, if you were in a nursing home as a COVID patient, you were unallowed to visit your or if you were in a nursing home, you were unallowed to visit your family or have your family visit you because of the risk of COVID. Yet they intentionally put COVID people into the nursing homes. So yes, the person who had COVID, who wanted to go in the nursing home, of course, they got what they wanted. Fair enough. But what about the person who wasn't allowed to visit their family because they were saying, oh, you might get COVID? They knew that if you put people in isolated facilities in close quarters with COVID in long-term care facilities, that it would spread like wildfire. We all knew that. The idea that, well, we had to allow that because we were worried we were going to run out of hospital beds proves that it wasn't about saving grandma. It was about saying, well, we're worried that other people might get infected, so it's worth intentionally setting up the situation that we know was most likely to kill grandma. Cuomo didn't allow everyone in nursing home to make the choices they wanted to make. If that was allowed, then people would have been allowed to come to the nursing home as they pleased. Yes, they did. They forced the nursing homes to take those people. They, as in the government of Cuomo, the state government of New York. Oh for 2 with proof. We showed the article. Your own article said that they had a mandate forcing nursing homes to accept COVID patients. Over 60% of the deaths when they were recording them in New York, same is true of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Michigan, were coming from nursing homes. So your argument is the same governors that were telling us that healthy people couldn't go to work, younger people couldn't, they were forcing lockdowns on us, telling us where we couldn't travel. You're like, well, hey, just because they also forced nursing homes to take COVID patients, that doesn't prove that they really forced it. No, the mainstream news basically covered for it. Yes, they're right. Like, you know what? Linear aggression. Yes. Establishment people on the right and the left are interested in consolidating more power for governments. Yes. I didn't see exactly what your point was with Pete, General, but I know that. No, the government, General, I understand. Obfuscation seems to be something you're very good at. What they ordered was that nursing homes had to accept COVID patients. That's what they ordered. To act like that's okay while these same governments were forcing other people to be locked down is absolutely absurd. They knew that if they forced nursing homes to accept COVID patients, that other people that were in those nursing homes were more likely to get COVID. Yet the New York government decided to do that anyways. That's what they did. Yeah, you see what I deal with, Tom? This is what Twitch is about. The New York government didn't grab old people that had COVID and force them into nursing homes. No, instead, they knew that most people in nursing homes don't have the ability to say, oh, you put COVID patients in here? I'm going to walk out the front door then. Most people didn't have that choice. Those people were also told, hey, your family can't come visit you because we're worried about COVID. But then the New York governor said, but you have to accept that your new roommate's a COVID patient. So, all right, I got to go. I can't be here all day. So, thank you so much for everyone who listens. Thank you to my guest, Mr. G2ek, hypocritical piece of shit that wants to violate make excuses for people violating social distance orders. They can't leave. General Noxa. They can't leave. Here's General Noxa's big brain take. Let's say you're a 95-year-old woman in a nursing home and you don't have the wherewithal, you don't have probably the physical capacity to just say, hey, I'm going to move. You probably don't have the financial capacity to say you're going to move. So, hey, if they want to put nursing home or if they want to put COVID patients into the room next to them while saying that their family's not allowed to visit them, that's a perfectly good decision by the New York governor. That's not them forcing anyone. If the nursing home patients didn't like the fact that they had COVID patients, which we have no evidence that they knew, that they were, if you were in a nursing home, that you knew COVID patients were being put in your nursing home with you. We don't have that evidence. Now, the New York government was forcing the nursing home to accept that COVID patient. But hey, as long as the New York government didn't say, oh, and person in the nursing home, you have to stay in the nursing home. That 95-year-old lady could have put her things in a bag and hitchhiked on out of there. Right, General Noxa? So while they're telling us the lockdowns are important, we have to lock down restaurants and things like that. We shouldn't criticize the New York government for forcing nursing homes to accept these COVID patients. Nursing homes were forced to accept COVID patients. People that live in nursing homes don't have the ability to just say, oh, there's COVID patients here, I'm out now. The majority of people in nursing homes don't have that wherewithal. The fact that authoritarian pieces of shit like you, General Noxa, want to make excuses for tens of thousands of people that died as a result of this disastrous policy, while probably also making excuses for the governors like Cuomo to say that people should be locked down that are healthy age populations, show the hypocritical authoritarian left for what it was. Not everyone that's in a nursing home has a family that was on the up and up that understood that COVID patients were being ordered into nursing homes. You fucking idiot, General Noxa. Thank you. Really? Everyone knew. So, hey, yeah, General Noxa would just like the 95-year-old lady that died in the nursing home to know. It's her fault. She knew what Generalissimo Cuomo said. She knew what Cuomo said. She should have got up out of there and left. It's her fault. And if the families if they mistakenly thought that their loved ones would have been kept safe in nursing homes, it's their fault that their loved ones died. Good point. Good point, General Noxa. Yep, there you have it. The family's demanding. Well, General Noxa, it's been nice talking to you. You go ahead and blame the families. That's fine. You're right, because most families that have people in nursing homes don't have a lot of excess money, but it's their fault. It was their fault if they couldn't, when Cuomo ordered that nursing homes where their loved ones had to accept COVID patients, it's the family's fault for not getting their family out of there. That's a good point. That's a good point. So, bye-bye, General Noxa, you victim-blaming asshole. So, all right. I will talk to everyone else soon. Thanks, Tom, for helping moderate. I really appreciate it. But, yeah, Mr. G2ek's a piece of shit. I won't be doing Dylan's show as long as he's connected to it. Thanks so much for everyone that tuned in. So, all right. I probably won't be doing a COVID update today. I'm feeling better. So that's my update. I'm feeling better. So thanks so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. We go down and get off the computer for a while. Felt good to yell at that asshole, though. I'm sorry, Joe Burnett. Oh, you didn't like that, Joe? Wow. Yeah, Joe, that fucking sucks, huh? Oh, yeah, Joe, that sucks, Joe Burnett. Well, guess what? You get to get banned, too. Banned from Twitch for asking. I'll ban people for whatever the fuck I want. I'm so tired of you hypocrites. All right, we'll see y'all later. Appreciate it. Have a good one.